Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. And would you join me in the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Is it on? Okay. Madam Secretary, public notice, please.
Adequate public notice has been given pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice have been posted at the board's office and website and emailed to the Department of State and to newspapers of broad circulation within the state.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Holden.
Here.
Commissioner Cristo DeLu.
Here.
Commissioner Gosadovi.
Here.
Commissioner Abdu.
Here.
President Federliso.
Here. And our next meeting?
The next regular board meeting will be held on Wednesday, July 12th, 2023 at 10 a.m. It'll be a hybrid meeting in person at the board hearing room at 44 South Clinton Avenue in Trenton and live streamed via YouTube.
Thank you. We will be having an executive session today, and the board will be addressing items under audit, an audit report under telecommunications, item 4A. If anybody's waiting around for item 4B, it is being deferred and will be taken up at a future board meeting. Clean energy, item 8A, will also be discussed in executive session, and the board will take action on these items during regular session. I anticipate the executive session to last about 20 minutes. Will the Attorney General's office please explain the justification for going into executive session?
Yes, good morning, Mr. President, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Agenda items 1A, 4A, and 8A fall within the contract negotiation and attorney-client privilege exception to the Open Public Meetings Act, which can be found in New Jersey Statute 10:4-12B7.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're in executive session. We'll see you hopefully in about 20 minutes. We're back in regular session. Thank you. Brings me back to my days of teaching where they would never shut up. Oh, is that what you got to do? Hi, everybody, and welcome to our meeting. As I might have mentioned before we went into executive session, item 4B has been deferred to a future meeting. I do have a few opening remarks that I wanted to make prior to getting started with the agenda. First, next week is July 4th, and I've been authorized to give you the day off. I thought that was nice, right?
That was pretty kind,
Yeah.
but not for next year.
Oh, no.
Not to inform advance.
On behalf of the board, I'd like to wish you a happy and safe 4th of July and a lot of fun. And don't drink too many Diet Cokes or Pepsis, because they can get you in trouble. Right, Commissioner? I don't know, I just thought I'd look at you.
She's not old enough
Oh, okay.
to. I'll take that.
You know, it's really a day to remember our founding fathers and the genius of them in setting up an experience that no other country really has taken upon themselves to do. It's an experiment that has lasted over 240 years. And the one thing that I think it's taught us over this time is the fact that democracy is not to be taken for granted. And I think events that we have seen over the past few years certainly point that out very vividly. You know, when they came out of the Continental Congress and somebody asked Benjamin Franklin, "What kind of government did you give us?" He says, "A republic if you can keep it." Think about that. We've been able to keep it for over 240 years. Ups and downs, challenges, potholes, but we've been able to endure. And we have to continue to endure. But it takes the participation and the work of all of us to ensure the fact that this experiment doesn't die. There's no other country in the world that has so many different kinds of people from all corners of the earth. And the experiment survives, but not without its challenges, and not without the hard work of each and every one of us to ensure that the experiment continues for another 240 years. Second, we have experienced some weather this past week, and some severe weather. I think there were reports of at least 2 tornadoes setting down in New Jersey during one of the storms, and we did have power outages. We're back to normal, whatever normal is, now as far as outages are concerned. And I just want to remind everyone, make plans for the eventuality of bad storms. We're going to get them. You know, it used to be where we only worried about the winter and the ice storms and things of that sort. But now summer presents challenges, and we have to be prepared for those challenges. So, you know, keep your phones charged, and they have these little charger things that you can plug your phone in. If the power does go out, I don't know what you call them, charger things. And I think that's the technical name. But, and so it's important, and heed the warnings of the weather folks. And particularly tornadoes. I never remember so many tornadoes here in the state of New Jersey. It used to be Oklahoma, it used to be Kansas, it used to be, and I'm sure they get their share. But New Jersey has gotten more than usual over the past couple of years. And they're nothing to play with, so stay safe. Lastly, and this is quite remarkable, New Jersey has been awarded over $260 million to advance our internet for all. $260 million. And that money is coming from the federal government. As a matter of fact, one of our colleagues, Valerie Bullard, was down in Washington at the White House, I might add, and as a representative for the state of New Jersey, they had the directors of broadband there, and the president specifically said, "Say hello to Joe." And that's only because we have the same first name. Right, Valerie, didn't he? There you go, okay. And I want to recognize the broadband team, Valerie and her team, and everyone from across the board who helped, including our legal team and the offices of cable television and telecommunications, reliability and security. You know, we pinpoint certain divisions sometimes, but it takes a collective team effort in everything we do, everything. And that's what makes us unique and the best department in the state of New Jersey. More details will come on this award announcement, but I want to remind you all that in July, our Office of Broadband Connectivity will continue holding community events for residents and businesses to learn more about internet services in their community. Our next community meetings will be on July 17th through July 20 in Willingsboro, Newton, Camden, and Atlantic City, respectfully. Please check our website for more information and please plan to attend. As we've said many times before, the pandemic pointed out the weaknesses in our broadband capabilities throughout the United States, not just in New Jersey. And we see that there are certain areas here in New Jersey that don't have access for one reason or another, whether it's economic, whether it's the area in which they live where they can't receive it. But through the efforts of our broadband division, our goal is to make sure every New Jerseyan has access to broadband. We left too many children behind during the pandemic who didn't have access and couldn't be online for school. We cannot allow that to happen again. So we have a lot of work ahead of us. As you know, we have a broadband commission, and we have to issue a report by the end of the year. And we're moving along with that, and it's a big job. And we're going to make sure that in our underserved communities, in our rural communities, that everybody has access to it. And if people can't afford it, there will be assistance available. Because we cannot allow our children to miss out on 2 years of school as we continue to move forward. That's sinful. So, do any of my colleagues have any words they would like to speak?
If I may, I would like to wish you a happy birthday, Mr.
Oh,
President,
thank you.
belated from yesterday.
Yeah, it's not easy hitting 40, I'll tell you.
I know.
What? That wasn't a joke, was that a joke? No, no. Madam Secretary, Oh, you have something to say? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm getting to be like the consent agenda. First,
Am I supposed to feel bad for you?
yeah, I'm going to be left out. To just sort of hop on Commissioner Gould-Sadovi's remarks, it's very fitting that Domingo German threw the perfect game last night
My
for
birthday
you.
gift.
And it's a good thing he did it in 99 pitches, because if he'd hit the 100-pitch mark, Boone would have picked him due to analytics, so, you know. Anyway,
Never gonna finish the game, right?
I also want to jump on the broadband wagon. Valerie Bullard made an excellent presentation and blew them away at NJUA conference, and really made us proud. It's like, we know what we're doing because Valerie's here. and that proof of the pudding is $260 million coming into the state. And it underscores what our friend and former chair of the Mississippi Commission, who happens to be running for governor, Brandon Presley, when he was the NARUC chair, his focus was that we should be talking about broadband and rural broadband, and how, you know, whether it's farmers or school kids and people, everyone should have access to the internet. Turns out in his presidential year is when the pandemic hit, and all of NARUC had to go virtual, and it just underscored the fact, as the president said, that the need to focus on broadband for all, or access for all. Commissioner Christodoulou and I just came back from the MACRA conference, which is the Middle Atlantic region of NARUC, and I won't speak to all of it because I know he's got a lot to say too. We were sort of the tag team, like looking for money. Had some great meetings with DOE, in particular, finding ways. They're very interested in getting involved in our offshore wind. They're just so excited about what we're doing, the methods we're taking on, and they want to find ways to help us make it more financially viable for the customer. And they would like to come up to Trenton and meet with the president and talk about these things, way we can collaborate. They also had good meetings with some people from the national labs and from EPRI, who have offering free consultation on things, particularly about grid modernization. So take it away, Zena.
Before you talk, one other thing. You did not identify who Mr. Presley's cousin is, or was.
Brandon Presley is the first cousin of Elvis. Thank you very much.
Commissioner,
Well, there are those who believe Elvis is still alive somewhere. So I just want to make that so. And just to jump quickly on the broadband bandwagon, it's not just a matter of convenience that we need broadband, or just a matter of downloading movies faster. As a professor, I would notice during the pandemic when we all went virtual that many of the students who didn't have broadband, their video feed would sometimes freeze, they would get disengaged, frustrated, and sometimes just log off. That's really the stake. When we talk about broadband, it's not just for the convenience factor, it's part of the infrastructure of our entire society and the future of our economy and education. So Valerie, what you brought back to us, thank you so very much, because it's more than just having something easier. It's really providing the resources for our students, not just in high schools, but also in college and grad school, believe it or not, where without that access, they're going to find it very hard to compete in New Jersey and globally. So this is a wonderful effort. The MACRA conference that Commissioner Holden just mentioned, we had a terrific time there because we brought together a lot of the industry leaders to talk about all of our utility concerns. We held an offshore wind conference where everyone from around the region, and actually people from around the country, were so interested in what we're doing here in New Jersey. And they're going to model what they do after what we have created. So our efforts are being recognized. What you're doing, staff, is really not just admirable, but it is revolutionary. It is leading the way forward. So thank you for all you do, not just on behalf of New Jersey, but really for the entire country. It's wonderful work. Thank you.
thank you. Oh, you had your chance.
Yeah, but I have to give a shout out, 'cause I thought Zena was going to do it. He called him a rock star. Paul Heitman, he was so knowledgeable, and everyone's like, why haven't we heard from this guy before? And so, thank you for allowing him to attend and be a panelist. He's going
You
to be in
didn't let
demand.
anybody hire him, did you?
No, no. We were doing some looking around for people we could snake away, but
We're always on the lookout. Anyone else? We're good? Now the consent agenda.
Yes. On
See, I
consent,
remembered it this time, didn't I?
yes, you did. On consent agenda items, 1A, 2A, 3A, 3B, 3C, 3D, 4A, 5A, and 6A.
so moved.
Second?
Roll call.
Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Deluc,
Yes.
Commissioner Gosadovi,
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul,
Yes.
President Frederico.
Yes. Thank you. And our first presenter, Director Bader.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
This agenda matter After review and receipt of those comments, staff will bring the matter back to the agenda for consideration of an implementation plan. Staff further recommends, consistent with the terms of the agreement for consulting services with Overland, that the holdback fees in the amount of $320,000 pending acceptance of the report be released to Overland.
So moved.
Second?
Questions, comments for Alice? Roll call, please.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Deluc,
Yes.
Commissioner Gosadovi,
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul,
Yes.
President Frederico.
Yes. Thank you,
Okay,
Alice.
thank you.
Good job on this. This
Thank
was a
you.
big one. Ian, you're up. Energy item 2A. Has something to do with FERC, I would imagine.
Yes, it does. And good morning, and also offshore wind transmission. So, this on March 16th, 2023, TransSource Pennsylvania LLC submitted a filing to the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission requesting both abandoned plant and construction work in progress incentives for its North Delta substation project. The North Delta substation is a state agreement approach project being built in Peach Bottom Township, Pennsylvania, to support the reliable integration of New Jersey offshore wind. As the substation is an SAA project, New Jersey repairs will bear the entire cost of building it. The abandoned plant incentive would allow TransSource to recover prudently incurred costs if the project is canceled for reasons beyond its control, while the construction work in progress incentive would allow TransSource to start charging New Jersey repairs for the substation before it is placed in service. TransSource did not discuss its intent to seek the construction work in progress incentives in its bid proposal. Moreover, in its October 26, 2022 order selecting SAA projects, state agreement approach projects, the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities expressly noted a preference for SAA solutions that did not front-load costs on ratepayers. Consequently, TransSource's proposal may have been evaluated less favorably had it stated it would pursue construction work in progress incentives during the bidding process. Board staff thus believed it was inappropriate for TransSource to seek construction work in progress treatment after the fact, and that it was important for the board to signal it would likely oppose such efforts to other successful SAA bidders. Accordingly, staff, on behalf of the board, filed comments to FERC opposing TransSource's request to be awarded a construction work in progress incentive on May 9th, 2023. Staff recommends that the board ratify the comments that staff filed with FERC on May 9th, 2023.
So moved.
Second?
Questions, comments for Ian? Roll call, Madam Secretary.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Deluc,
Yes.
Commissioner Gosadovi,
I'm going to abstain because I was not here when the comments got filed, so abstain.
Commissioner Abdul,
I'm going to abstain as well on this and all the other item 2 matters.
President Frederico.
Yes. And you're 2B too,
Yes, I am.
also.
Also, another for greater matter. So, on January 28th, 2022, Lockwood Electric Company, or RECO, filed a proposed increase in its annual transmission revenue requirement and corresponding revisions to its stated transmission rates with the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, or FERC. Specifically, RECO proposed to recover an annual transmission revenue requirement of $20,354,318, an increase of nearly 21% from its prior revenue requirement of $16,833,707. On the RECO's proposal, its return on equity would also increase to 11.04%, including its RTO participation adder, which is a 104 basis point increase over its current authorized ROE of 10%, which includes its RTO participation adder. Its base REO is currently 9.5%. On January 28th, 2022, the New Jersey Division of Rate Counsel intervened in the FERC docket, while the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities intervened on February 10th, 2022, to gain party status. On February 18th, 2022, Rate Counsel filed a protest to RECO's filing, arguing that RECO's proposed rates were excessive and therefore unjust and unreasonable. RECO filed an answer to Rate Counsel's protest on March 7th, 2022, contesting their claims. On March 29th, 2022, FERC initiated settlement judge procedures for this matter. After over a year of negotiations, the parties reached an agreement in principle on April 26, 2023, that would result in a lower near-term rate increase for RECO customers than would occur under RECO's original filing. This is under the terms of the settlement. RECO's annual transmission revenue requirement for the period August 30th, 2022 to December 31st, 2023 would be $18,200,000. Board staff determined that this would increase the average monthly bill of a RECO customer by 86 cents per month. Additionally, pursuant to the settlement, RECO's transmission revenue requirement would increase to $20.7 million effective January 1st, 2024. Staff determined that this would increase the average monthly bill of a RECO customer by an additional $1.85. RECO, on behalf of the parties, plans to file the settlement with FERC by July 5th, 2023. Staff recommends that the board agree to the terms of the settlement and authorize a Deputy Attorney General from the Division of Law to sign the settlement on the board's behalf.
So moved. So moved.
Second?
Questions, comments for Ian? Yes.
As someone in this room used to refer to those adders as FERC candy. I am particularly happy that you're able to claw back any basis points that you could on this. It really makes a difference to the customer's bill. And it's unfortunate we have this little adder that the federal government puts on top, but and we have no real recourse to that. But thank you for your efforts.
And thank you for that sentiment, Commissioner.
Any other comments, questions? Roll call, please, Madam Secretary.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Christo DeLune,
Yes.
Commissioner Goldsadovy,
Yes.
President Federico.
Yes. Thank you, Ian.
Thank you.
Mr. Moran, you're up. Item 2C. Regarding Bates White.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
In accordance with the contract between Bates White and the board, Bates White submitted a final and redacted report regarding its review and oversight of the New Jersey Electric Distribution Company's BGS auction process for the supply period beginning June 1st, 2023. The Division of Water and Energy reviewed the report and found it to be complete. Staff recommends that Bates White's annual final report on the 2023 BGS RSCP and CIEP auctions be accepted for filing by the board, and that the redacted version be made available to the public via the board's website. Staff recommends the board direct staff to monitor market conditions and return to the board on or before December 2023 with recommendations regarding the necessity of large-scale changes to the auctions. And lastly, staff recommends that the board direct the Division of Treasury to provide final payment to Bates White for its work on the 2023 BGS auction.
So moved.
Second?
Questions, comments? Bates White has provided excellent service to us over the years as far as the BGS auction is concerned. And I'm happy that we're retaining them for next year's auction.
Right.
So, and thank you for your work on this. Roll call, please.
On a motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou?
Yes.
Commissioner Goldsadovy?
Yes.
President Federlisa?
Yes. Okay, thank you, Ryan. Malky, you're up. For item 2D and 2E.
Good morning.
Good morning.
On July 29, 2022, Atlantic City Electric filed a petition with the board seeking approval to implement conservation incentive program rates to account for potential lost sales revenues resulting from the company's energy efficiency programs. On December 7, 2022, the board approved a stipulation which authorized ACE to implement its proposed CIP mechanism and associated rates on a provisional basis, subject to refund, while the matter remained under review. As a result of the stipulation for provisional rates, a typical residential customer using 680 kilowatt hours per month and 7,800 kilowatt hours annually was a decrease of 24 cents to their monthly bill. Following further review, the parties executed a stipulation that recommends finalizing the implemented CIP rates. As a result of the stipulation, the typical residential customer would experience no change to their bill. Staff recommends that the board approve the stipulation. Staff further recommends that the board direct ACE to file revised tariff sheets consistent with its order by June 30th, 2023.
So moved.
Second?
Questions, comments for Malky? Roll call, Madam Secretary.
On a motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou?
Yes.
Commissioner Goldsadovy?
Yes.
President Federlisa?
Yes. Item E.
On July 29, 2022, Rockland Electric Company filed a petition with the board seeking approval to implement conservation incentive program rates to account for potential lost sales revenues resulting from the company's energy efficiency programs. On September 28, 2022, the board approved a stipulation which authorized RECO to implement its proposed CIP mechanism and associated rates on a provisional basis, subject to refund, while the matter remained under review. As a result of that stipulation, the typical residential customer using 808 kilowatt hours per month and 7,800 kilowatt hours annually was a decrease of 17 cents to their monthly bill. Following further review, the parties executed a stipulation that recommends finalizing the implemented CIP rates. As a result, the typical residential customer would experience no change to their bill. Staff recommends that the board approve the stipulation. Staff further recommends that the board direct RECO to file revised tariff sheets consistent with its order by June 30th, 2023.
So moved.
Second?
Questions, comments? Roll call, Madam Secretary.
On a motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou?
Yes.
Commissioner Goldsadovy?
Yes.
President Federlisa?
Yes. Thank you, Malky. Dean, you're up. ACE's Infrastructure Investment Program.
Good morning, Mr. President.
Good
Commissioners.
morning.
On October 31st, 2022, Atlantic City Electric Company filed a petition with the board seeking approval to implement an infrastructure investment program and related cost recovery mechanism. The company proposed a total investment level of $379 million over a 4-year program. Following extensive discovery and settlement meetings, the parties have executed a stipulation resolving this matter. As part of the settlement, Atlantic City Electric will invest a total of approximately $93.1 million in the following programs: targeted reliability improvements, smart technology upgrades, solar and DER enablement, and substation improvements. The parties agreed that the company will recover costs associated with the IIP investments on an accelerated basis and as a separate component of its existing rider IIP in the company's tariff. Atlantic City Electric will make up to 5 filings over the 4-year program to recover in-service investments on a rolling basis. There is no initial bill impact with the approval of this stipulation. However, following completion of the 4-year program, a typical residential customer using approximately 680 kilowatt hours per month will experience an increase in their monthly bill of approximately $1.22 per month. Staff recommends that the board issue an order approving the stipulation.
So moved.
Second?
Infrastructure is an ongoing process, and we have seen major improvements in the entire infrastructure of all of our utilities since Superstorm Sandy. But the job is never done. We have to continue to invest in infrastructure and to ensure the fact that when the time comes where we have to, quote, plug in our clean energy generation, that there's a place to plug it in. So it's vital that we continue to work on our infrastructure for the benefit of the 9.3 million people who live in this state. Dean, thank you for your work on this and your team.
Thank you.
Cable television,
Mr. President,
what, did I,
we have to do a roll call vote.
oh, we have to vote.
Yes.
I was just seeing if you were still awake.
We need a motion and a second.
Did you make a motion?
I moved.
You moved, any second?
Okay. Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
I'm sorry, on a motion to approve staff's recommendation. Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delue?
Yes.
Commissioner Gosadovi?
Yes.
And President Ferdolisa?
Yes. Thank you for the reminder. Luanda, you're up.
Good morning, Mr. President and Commissioners.
Good morning, Luanda.
This item involves a petition filed by Altesa's subsidiary, CSC TKR, regarding a dispute with the Borough of Madison involving access to the borough's highways for the provision of cable TV service. In its petition, Altese seeks relief from the board to address allegations that the borough has unlawfully denied Altese access to its cable plant within the rights-of-way of the borough, thereby restricting Altese from engaging in construction and maintenance of its cable plant unless they agree to provide additional fees to the borough through a pole attachment agreement. As background, cable television service was initially established in the borough through its adoption of a municipal consent ordinance by its governing body, followed by the issuance by the board of a certificate of approval, or COA, to Altesa's predecessors on February 19, 1975. Pursuant to the state's Cable TV Act codified at NJSA 48:5A, the COA permitted the construction, operation, and maintenance of a cable television system in the borough. Since 1975 up to the present, the borough's governing body has adopted renewal ordinances, and the board has issued renewal COAs to Altese and its predecessors. Altese is currently the holder of a system-wide cable franchise that authorizes the company under state and federal law to continue to construct and maintain a cable television system within the highways and the rights-of-way of the borough. Altese routinely maintains pole attachment agreements and with local utility companies for access to utility poles located within the service area. In this case, the borough is one of 10 towns within the state that owns its own municipal electric utility and poles. However, the management of the poles has been governed by an agreement entered into between the borough and New Jersey Bell Telephone Company, Verizon's predecessor, in 1950, referred to as the Joint Use Agreement. Pursuant to the Joint Use Agreement, Verizon exclusively manages the borough's poles and has been the designated entity collecting pole attachment fees from Altese since the approval of the provision of cable television service in the borough in 1975. Altese began the deployment of an advanced fiber to the home, or FTTH, cable system throughout its service footprint in 2017. Soon after Altese had commenced aerial cabling of its FTTH upgrade of its cable system in the borough, in 2021, the borough informed Altese that they would not be allowed to continue with the upgrade or to access their plant to conduct maintenance until they had negotiated the terms of a pole attachment agreement for the borough to collect fees for the use of their utility poles. These were the same poles for which Altese currently paid fees to Verizon under the joint use agreement. Despite months of negotiations between the parties, they could not reach an agreement on the amount for pole attachment fees. In October 2022, Altice reached out to the board's Office of Cable Television and Telecommunications, the OCTV&T, seeking its intervention with gaining access to its plant. Mediation sessions held between the parties were unsuccessful in reaching a settlement, and the borough continued its refusal to permit Altice access to its plant. On March 14, 2023, Altice filed its formal petition with the board, requesting the board issue an order ruling that the borough should immediately cease its demand that Altice pay additional compensation over and above the cable TV franchise fee in consideration for receiving access to its cable television system in the borough. And 2, grant Altice the ability to immediately commence deployment of its FTTH cable television system and perform regular maintenance as needed to the cable television system located in the borough. Altice asserted that it has the right to deploy FTTH without incurring additional pole attachment fees pursuant to its rights under the franchise and the joint use agreement, which grants Verizon the exclusive authority to manage and receive compensation for the borough's poles through its expiration date of October 13, 2023. Altice also argued that the borough's fee demand for access violates the statutory limit on compensation by a cable service provider in a municipality. On April 3, 2023, the borough filed its answer to the petition, wherein it denied it had unlawfully demanded Altice pay additional compensation over the franchise fee and restricted Altice's access. The borough argued that under the franchise, Altice was allowed to use the rights-of-way in the borough, but not the utility poles owned by the borough's municipal utility, which they believed that the board did not have jurisdiction over. Additionally, the borough alleged that Altice was in violation of its franchise due to its failure to provide free services to several municipal locations. Altice filed a response to the borough's answer, noting that the borough agreed that the series of franchises going back to 1975 all authorized Altice to deploy its facilities in the public rights-of-way. Altice also denied the borough's allegations regarding the free services, arguing that their prohibition to access their plant prevented the construction of such services, and that the borough's allegations do not justify the actions continuing to prevent Altice from deploying its facilities. Thereafter, on April 27, 2023, Altice filed a motion for partial summary decision in the matter, requesting the board issue a ruling only on its ability to access its plant in the borough to complete construction and plant maintenance, and allow the pole attachment agreement issue to be dealt with separately. The borough filed responses to the motion in opposition, reiterating its previous arguments. Altice filed additional responses as well, reiterating its previous arguments. Based upon staff's review of the voluminous record of the proceeding, relevant statutes and rules, along with the history of the cable franchise agreements in the borough, staff concludes as follows. 1, the board and the OCTV&T have jurisdiction over this matter as the state's federally recognized cable franchising authority and may therefore enforce COAs based upon the municipal consent granted by the borough for access to the rights-of-way, which includes poles. The board and the OCTV&T are also statutorily empowered to adjudicate pole attachment disputes under federal law. 2, Altice has the legal authority under its franchise to own, construct, and operate a cable television system in the borough and is legally entitled to maintain its equipment in the borough. 3, the borough provided the necessary consent for the use of the poles based upon the numerous municipal consent ordinances granted by the borough's governing body. In addition, the borough was aware of the company's presence on the poles for decades without objection. 4, the borough's restriction of Altice's access to maintain their equipment in the municipality is unlawful and negatively impacts service to its cable subscribers. Staff therefore recommends that the board, 1, grant Altice's motion for partial summary decision and issue an order directing the borough to immediately allow Altice access to its plant to enable them to complete maintenance and work on its system, as well as commence deployment of its FTTH cable upgrade. 2, require that Altice provide the requested free services to the municipal properties as required under its franchise and provide proof to the OCTV&T within 90 days. And 3, transmit all outstanding issues regarding pole attachment rates to the Office of Administrative Law for hearing.
So moved.
Second?
Questions, comments?
If I could, just one quick comment. As long as Nancy Wolf is in charge of making sure that they fulfill their requirements, I'm very comfortable with this.
I am as well. Thank you, Commissioner.
That was a nice shout out for you, man. And well deserved.
Absolutely.
Any other comments, questions? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delue,
Yes.
Commissioner Gosadovi,
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul,
Yes.
President Federico.
Yes. Thank you, Luanda. All right, Valerie, you're going to present telecommunication item A, which was discussed in executive session and will be considered here in public session.
Mr. President, Commissioners,
Good morning.
I'd like to thank you and the Murphy administration for supporting the state's efforts to close the digital divide and provide internet service for all of New Jersey. Earlier in executive session, I made a presentation to you detailing the request to extend the contract between the board and ECC Technologies. Based upon our discussion, I ask that you authorize the issuance of a contract extension between the board and ECC Technologies to continue conducting research that is imperative to New Jersey's 5-year statewide digital equity and action plans, in addition to our Broadband Access Study Commission report. Thank you.
So moved.
Second?
Questions, comments for Valerie? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delue,
Yes.
Commissioner Gosadovi,
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul,
Yes.
President Federico.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for your efforts, and next time, I'm going to carry your briefcase to the White House. As I mentioned earlier, 4B, item 4B is being deferred to a future board meeting. Michael, you have some water item here?
I do. Good morning, Mr. President and Commissioners.
Good morning, Michael.
On May 15th, 2023, Middlesex Water Company filed a petition detailing a plan for the replacement of lead service lines and requesting that the board authorize the company to defer the cost to replace customer-side lead service lines as a regulatory asset until the company replaces all customer-owned lead service lines and recovers the cost associated with the replacements. Additionally, the company requested authority to calculate a monthly carrying charge based on the balance of the regulatory asset account equal to the embedded cost of debt from the company's then applicable base rate case. Staff recommends that the board retain this matter for hearings at the board and designate a presiding commissioner. Staff further recommends that the board set a bar date of August 4th, 2023 for the filing of motions to intervene and/or participate and for admission pro hoc vice.
Before we vote on it, Commissioner Abdul has consented to being the presiding commissioner for this item. Thank you. Any questions, comments?
I'll move it.
Second?
Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delue,
Yes.
Commissioner Gosadovi,
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul,
Yes.
President Federico.
Yes. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
There are no items under reliability and security to consider. That brings us to customer assistance. Maureen? We're talking about USF and Fresh Start
Yes. Good
program.
morning.
Good morning.
This matter concerns the board's Universal Service Fund and Fresh Start programs. USF provides income-eligible customers with monthly credits on their electric and gas bills. Fresh Start allows eligible USF customers with an opportunity to earn forgiveness on overdue balances by paying their current monthly charges in full. In response to the significant arrearages accrued by residential customers during the pandemic, in 2021, the board expanded the USF and Fresh Start programs for a 2-year period. These expansions included providing access to the USF and Fresh Start programs to moderate-income families, allowing all USF enrollees access to the Fresh Start program rather than only to first-time USF participants, raising the USF benefit cap, lifting the Fresh Start Forgiveness monthly benefit cap, and creating a minimum monthly USF benefit. Additionally, electric and gas public utilities were directed to apply federal arrearage forgiveness dollars to Fresh Start balances to reduce the burden on ratepayers and maximize federal COVID relief funds. These program expansions are scheduled to expire on September 30th, 2023, unless further action is taken by the board. Therefore, on January 23rd, 2023, staff issued a public notice requesting comment regarding the future of the USF and Fresh Start programs. A stakeholder meeting was also held on February 15th, 2023, during which staff presented the USF and Fresh Start program parameters before and after the expansions were put into place, as well as enrollment, cost, and rate impacts. The public notice and the stakeholder meeting afforded the public with the opportunity to comment on if and how the USF and Fresh Start program should be changed on a going-forward basis. Public comments were received at the stakeholder meeting, and written comments were received by the deadline of March 3rd, 2023. Staff reviewed the comments received and developed a straw proposal which was released to the public with a request for information on May 3rd, 2023. In the straw proposal, staff recommended maintaining the current USF program expansions while reducing the USF income ceiling to the federal low-income home energy assistance program, LIHEAP, income ceiling. Additionally, staff recommended the following modifications to the Fresh Start program. Allow continued access to Fresh Start for USF enrollees through September 30th, 2024. Allow Fresh Start enrollment once every 5 years beginning October 1st, 2024. Permanently remove the $100 cap on monthly Fresh Start forgiveness, and remove the temporary order for utilities to apply federal funds to Fresh Start balances. All comments regarding the straw proposal were received by the deadline of May 24th, 2023, and are summarized in the order. While the majority of comments received were generally supportive of the straw proposal, some clarifying language was requested by the utility companies, which has been incorporated into the order. Also, further data collection, analysis, and reporting were also requested. In conclusion, staff recommends the following. The modifications listed in staff's straw proposal and as set forth in the order be made by the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs, which administers the USF program, and by the electric and gas public utility companies, which administer the Fresh Start program, by the deadlines of October 1st, 2023 and October 1st, 2024, respectively, and recovery for USF and Fresh Start be reviewed during the annual USF compliance filing. Additionally, staff recommends the following information be provided by the gas and electric public utility companies administering the Fresh Start program on a going-forward basis. 2 additional communications be sent to Fresh Start customers who are not in compliance with program requirements beginning October 1st, 2023, as set forth in the order. Additional Fresh Start performance data be reported to the board quarterly beginning January 30th, 2024, as set forth in the order. And a new Fresh Start assessment report be reported to the board annually beginning February 15th, 2025, as set forth in the order. Therefore, staff recommends the board approve these modifications to its USF and Fresh Start program.
So moved.
Second?
Are there any questions or comments? Maureen, Julie, thank you and the whole team for constantly being on top of this. We have too many people who are struggling and who need assistance. And it's important, and we've mentioned this many, many times before. We have a talented group of people here who can help if there is a problem in paying your utility bills. Also, the utility companies are more than willing to sit down with you and go over various ways that they can be of assistance, setting up a payment plan as an example, or something like that. Don't wait to the point where your service might be disrupted. There's help. Take advantage of that help, please.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delou,
Yes.
Commissioner Gosadovi,
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul,
Yes.
President Frederico.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you, Maureen. Julie, I think you're the next one. You're the next victim.
morning, Mr. President, Commissioners.
Good morning, Julie.
This matter involves a billing dispute between Barbara Martin and Atlantic City Electric Company. The petition was received by the board on October 9th, 2019, and transmitted to the OAL on November 27th and assigned to ALJ Catherine A. Toohey. Mrs. Martin alleges that Atlantic Electric incorrectly billed her and transferred the balance of her mother's account to her account. In a supplemental filing, Ms. Martin claims that ACE misappropriated her USF credit. The parties agreed that the initial petition is moot based on Mrs. Martin's receipt of the USF Fresh Start funds and COVID CARES Act, American Rescue Plan Forgiveness Program, which cleared her electric account of all disputed transfer balances. In her initial decision, ALJ Toohey concluded that this matter was ripe for summary decision since there are no issues of material fact in dispute and Atlantic Electric is entitled to summary decision as a matter of law. The remaining claim alleging ACE misappropriated her USF credits and that she is entitled to $750 in damages. ACE submitted an affidavit detailing Ms. Martin's account history and the USF credits received. ACE billing statements prove that Ms. Martin received her USF monthly credit applied to her electric account and there was no misappropriation. Therefore, based on the foregoing, responded ACE motion for summary decision was granted and Ms. Martin's cross motion for summary decision was denied. It was further ordered that the petition and the supplemental petition in this matter be and hereby dismissed. Staff has completed review and recommends the board adopt the initial decision dismissing the petition in this matter.
So moved.
Second?
Questions, comments? Roll call, please, Madam Secretary.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou?
Yes.
Commissioner Goldsadoli?
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul?
Yes.
President Federico?
Yes. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
Jim? Clean Energy Item 8A, which was also discussed in executive session, and as I indicated before we went in, it would be voted on in open session. Jim?
Good morning again, Mr. President, Commissioners.
Good morning, Jim.
For more than a decade, through support from the board, the Department of Marine and Coastal Sciences at Rutgers University, or DMCS, has been conducting atmospheric research to evaluate offshore wind resources. DMCS, through the Rutgers University Center for Ocean Observing Leadership, or RUCOOL, has developed and advanced models capable of estimating and forecasting wind speeds and other key parameters in the waters off of New Jersey's coastline. RUCOOL has also, through the Partners in Science element of its previous contracts with the board, engaged stakeholders in critical issues related to offshore wind development. Before you is a proposed contract between the NJBPU and Rutgers University DMCS for the period from July 1, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. The proposed contract would provide funding for staffing, expertise, and resources necessary to carry RUCOOL's previous efforts forward. Activities for 2023-2024 would include 1, stakeholder engagement focused on deepening understanding of the offshore wind resource and its variability across relevant timescales and ocean conditions. And 2, the development of new offshore wind resource baseline data products, analyses, and model case studies that explore the wind resource and its variability, as well as the associated potential power production from offshore wind. As discussed in executive session, staff recommends that the board approve the fiscal year 2024 contract between Rutgers University, Department of Marine and Coastal Sciences, and the NJBPU.
So moved.
Second?
Questions, comments for Jim? Contrary to popular belief by some, there's a lot of research that goes into every initiative that we put forth as far as clean energy is concerned. Not only research within the BPU, but also the expertise of outside consultants. We take this very, very seriously, and we're not going to subject any of the citizens in the state of New Jersey to a program that hasn't been fully vetted. and a program that we feel, through the advice of our in-house staff and our consultants, that it is an initiative that is worthwhile. And that's basically, in many respects, how we come up with answers and policies relative to clean energy. And it's people like Jim and the Division of Clean Energy that provides us with that expertise, and whatever expertise we don't have here, we go out and seek that expertise. So it's important that everyone knows that it's not a matter of just throwing spaghetti up against the wall and hoping something sticks. It's a matter of a lot of work that goes into any initiative that we encounter. And so thank you again for your work. In this particular division of Rutgers University is outstanding, and we use local universities and colleges in the state of New Jersey to assist us in many cases to advance our clean energy program in particular. So thank you, Jim. Thank you, Division of Clean Energy.
Thank you, Mr. President.
If there are no other comments, or, yes?
Just to add, as a point of statewide pride, that Rutgers department is one of the best in the world at what they do in tracking wind and cold pools. So we should be very proud as New Jerseyans as well, and as Rutgers graduates.
Yes, good point. Thank you. And they are. They're excellent. Roll call, Madam Secretary.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delou?
Yes.
Commissioner Goldstein?
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul?
I'm going to be abstaining on this matter and all other item 8 matters.
President Frederica?
Yes. Thank you, Jim.
You're welcome.
Andrea? Regarding SAA.
Good morning. How are
Good
you
morning.
guys? I'm here today to present 2 updates on the state agreement approach, or the SAA. First is a recommendation to approve certain scope changes. I'm getting off mute. Excuse me. Thank you. The first is a recommendation to approve certain scope changes and associated cost increases for some of the SAA projects. A second is to present for your review scope-related cost estimate adjustments for some of the SAA projects. I'll start with the first update, which includes 3 scope changes. The first is a change to Mid-Atlantic Offshore Development, or MAODS, project to include the unenergized infrastructure from the end of the pre-built infrastructure to the direct current, or DC, converter stations, and the alternating current, or AC, collector lines that run from the generator's DC converter station to the Larrabee collector station's AC interface. Together, this work represents a small portion of the total work necessary to interconnect the offshore wind projects and must be done regardless of whether it's constructed by the generator separately or MAOD. Through close engagement with our consultant Brattle, PJM, and MAOD, staff determined that there are significant benefits if MAOD constructs this interconnection work, including timing advantages and operational benefits. After engagement between MAOD and staff, MAOD provided an updated cost estimate to their project and their scope with an estimate of $23 million. Since this work was not originally included in MAOD's SAA award, staff recommends that MAOD's scope of work under the SAA order be modified to include this interconnection work. The second scope change, also for the MAOD project, is for a feasibility study pertaining to the pre-built infrastructure. MAOD proposed to PJM that they conduct a study to determine the feasibility of including the pre-built infrastructure as a modification to MAOD's SAA award. MAOD estimated the cost to perform the study is $290,000. The third scope change relates to Jersey Central Power and Light, JCPL's project. The new scope involves the removal of some of the lines to accommodate the installation of larger lines and the replacement of certain equipment at the Middlesex substation. JCP&L estimated the cost increase for the additional scope to be $17.47 million. The two lines are currently not in service, so the removal of the retired in-place facilities would not be triggered in any of the analysis performed by PJM. This is only identifiable during a review of the physical layout of the equipment or a visual inspection of the land. Regarding the substation, the original analysis identified the loading on the facilities, but it was not initially recognized that some of the specific components would not be able to support the increased load. The estimated cost of the scope changes is approximately $40.76 million. The second SAA update is related to the cost estimate adjustments associated with several of the awarded SAA projects. Since the SAA order was issued, staff and PJM regularly meet to discuss the ongoing updates related to the awarded projects. As part of these meetings, PJM continues to provide updates to staff when PJM receives notice of cost estimates adjustments from the awarded SAA projects. PJM has indicated that these updates are not uncommon. In light of this, PJM alerted staff of ongoing cost estimate adjustments and presented this updated information at the May 9th, 2023 TEAC, or the Transmission Expansion Advisory Committee meeting. More specifically, in addition to the scope changes, PJM presented a total cost estimate increase of $109.58 million across multiple SAA projects. With an increase in SAA project costs, staff appreciates the significance of ratepayer impacts. Of critical importance throughout the SAA process was the baseline scenario, or the cost of the transmission facilities that would be necessary to achieve New Jersey's offshore wind goals in the absence of an SAA solution. Using the baseline scenario, cost estimates, and the SAA project cost estimates, Brattle and staff were able to determine that at the time of the SAA award, New Jersey ratepayers would realize an estimated savings of over $900 million with the awarded SAA projects compared against the baseline. Due to the recent SAA project cost estimate adjustment, staff requested that Brattle provide an updated comparison between the baseline scenario and the SAA projects with the new cost adjustments to determine the current estimated ratepayer savings. Brattle found that, like the SAA project cost estimate adjustments, the baseline scenario facilities would face similar cost adjustments. Brattle and staff have determined that while the SAA project costs have increased since the date of the SAA award, these cost increases would have been applicable to the non-SAA projects in the baseline scenario as well. And New Jersey ratepayers would nonetheless still receive an estimated $900 million in savings by utilizing the SAA rather than utilizing the baseline scenario. In conclusion, staff recommends that the board approve and direct MAD and JCPL to modify and expand their scopes under their awarded SAA projects to include the aforementioned work. And 2, acknowledge the scope-related cost estimate adjustments related to the SAA projects that were presented at the May 9th TEAC. Thank you.
So moved.
Second?
Questions, comments for Andrew? Yes.
I want to thank you. I know we put you through hell on that order, but the detail that was added was much clearer, makes it clearer, and also what the comparison is, the update from Brattle in particular, that, you know, the costs have gone up on one equal to the costs going up on another, and that still SAA is the more economical route to go and makes sense. The scope modifications will take in, you know, values the time value of money as well. So we're looking ahead, building what needs to be done instead of building in drips and drabs. So good work. Thank you. Thank you for putting up with us, some of us.
And just to build on Commissioner Holden, we understand how difficult this was for all of you. We greatly appreciate it, not just as the commission, but also the state of New Jersey. This is going to save us a lot of money in the long run to achieve our policy goals. And as PJM said clearly, price increases are not uncommon, but as a consumer, they are never welcomed. I added that last part. So although we accept this and we appreciate all the efforts, I think that additional changes might not be as welcome. But I'm encouraged by your work and by the briefings that we got that this will be a good rock bottom price for us. And I think overall, the New Jersey residents and ratepayers will benefit greatly from your hard work. So thank you.
Thank you for those positive comments and the positive work that is being done regarding offshore wind in general, and as I said before. And there are unfortunately many unforeseen developments have occurred over the past couple of years, prior to the pandemic and after the pandemic, as far as the economy is concerned, where we see increases that were never anticipated. So, good work, good recommendations, and we have to keep moving forward. If there are no other comments, roll call, please.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Krista DeLune,
Yes.
Commissioner Goldsadovy,
Yes.
President Federico.
Yes. Thank you, Andrea. Mr. Rossi. Obviously has something to do with money if you're up here.
Good morning, Mr. President and Commissioners. In the matter of the comprehensive energy efficiency and renewable energy resource analysis for fiscal year 2024, Clean Energy Programs, staff is pleased to present recommendations on funding levels. As the Commissioners are aware, the Electric Discount and Energy Competition Act required the board to initially undertake a comprehensive resource analysis, or CRA, every 4 years. Since 2012, this has been done on an annual basis, and for FY24, staff has drafted another one-year CRA. The CRA straw proposal includes the level of funding estimated to meet the needs of the New Jersey Clean Energy Program. For FY24, staff is recommending that the board set an SBC funding level of $344,665,000, which is the same funding level approved by the board since FY15. A virtual public hearing and recording regarding the CRA, along with these programs and budgets, and compliance filings were held via webinar on June 2nd, and comments were accepted through June 12th. On May 12th, via the BPU listserv and NJCEP website, the board approved notice of a June 2nd, 2023 virtual public hearing. And on May 22nd, the staff released the straw proposal and other FY24 program and budget documents. The CRA straw proposal recommends that $344,665,000 in new SBC funding be approved for FY24. Staff is recommending that this be allocated across the energy efficiency programs, distributed energy resource programs, renewable energy programs, EDA programs, planning and administration, BPU initiatives, and state energy initiatives. When combined with the new funding and other sources of funds, which include prior estimated commitments carried over from FY23, the total new proposed FY24 funding level is $660,108,841. Staff estimates that the proposed FY24 funding level will be sufficient to maintain a full portfolio of programs. Staff has also determined that by maintaining the FY23 SBC funding level in FY24, that there will be no incremental impacts on rates. The CRA straw proposal sets out in details the rationale utilized by staff in developing the FY24 funding level. Having reviewed and considered the comments regarding the FY24 funding level, staff recommends that the board set, adopt, and approve the proposed FY24 funding level and proposed FY24 utility payments.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments for Matt? Well, I want to thank you, Matt, for your excellent work as far as the finances are concerned. And I also want to thank our fiscal division, Curtis, and both your teams, who have really worked diligently to make all of this possible. And good job. And as I said earlier, it takes a team. And that's one of the great things about this department. We're a team and we help one another. So good job on both ends. Thank you. Roll call, please.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delue?
Yes.
Commissioner Goldsadovy?
Yes.
President Federico?
Yes. Thank you, Matt. Or do you have something else?
Yep, one more item, the budget
Oh,
itself.
I thought I was going to get rid of you soon.
Not that easy.
Okay.
The next agenda item addresses the Clean Energy Program and budgets plan for FY24. The New Jersey Clean Energy Program promotes increased energy efficiency and the use of clean, renewable sources of energy. The results for New Jersey are a stronger economy, less pollution, lower cost, and reduced demand for electricity. Staff is guided in the development of this budget and programs by the objectives set forth in various clean energy initiatives, including the Clean Energy Act, which places considerable emphasis on the important role of EE, in addition to requiring the transition of the solar program, as well as setting energy storage and benchmarking goals, the Offshore Wind Economic Development Act, the New Jersey Electric Vehicle Act, among others. Staff is further guided by the strategies detailed in the Energy Master Plan, or EMP, which sets forth a roadmap for meeting 100% clean energy by 2050 goals. In February of 2023, Governor Murphy accelerated this goal through Executive Order 315 to reach this goal by 2035. Finally, staff's efforts are highly focused on equity and ensuring the benefits of clean energy and the clean energy economy are enjoyed by all residents. The NJCEP budget is developed to achieve these clean energy goals and designed with staff and our program administrators' involvement before being issued for public comment. Notice was distributed to the BPU listserv about the posting to the New Jersey Clean Energy Program website of the following proposed FY24 documents: the Division of Clean Energy Compliance Filing, the TRC Program Descriptions and Budgets, the Charge Up New Jersey Compliance Filing, the Comfort Partners Compliance Filing, the Division of Property Management and Construction Designated Project List, the proposed FY24 budget, and the CRA straw proposal. The distributions and postings requested comments on these documents with the due date of June 12, 2023. On June 2nd, 2023, staff hosted a public hearing and presented an overview of proposed new NJCEP initiatives, along with program changes for FY24, and accepted public comment at that meeting. In addition, the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection confirmed that the board has consulted with the NJDEP regarding the CRA straw proposal and the FY24 funding level, and the NJDEP agreed with the proposed funding level. The budget is consistent with the funding levels approved in the CRA order. Based on the goals set forth in the CRA straw proposal, the policy objectives of the New Jersey Clean Energy Program and historic spend rates, staff in close coordination with the program administrator developed proposed programs and budgets. Again, the total FY24 budget of $660,108,841 for the NJCEP includes both new funding and estimated prior commitments, which are carried over from FY23. This includes key program and funding levels, such as more than $140 million in new funding for energy efficiency programs, over $7.5 million in new funding for distributed energy resources, over $12.5 million in new funding for renewable energy programs. The FY24 budget also covers costs of administration, including staff salaries and our partnerships with Sustainable Jersey and NJIT. Also, new funding has been budgeted for program evaluation and analysis to continue the efforts on several critical studies approved by the board, as well as to engage in several new studies to track and report progress in meeting the EMP goals and ensure increased oversight of programs. Additional, several key BPU initiatives will continue to receive new funding, including community energy planning grants and energy storage. Lastly, the FY24 budget allocates new funding for electric vehicle programs, including both ongoing and new programs. Therefore, staff has reviewed and considered the comments received and recommends that the board approve the processes utilized in developing the detailed FY24 program budgets contained in the order, as well as the FY24 program budget and compliance filings.
So So moved.
Second?
Questions, comments? Roll call, Madam Secretary.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delue?
Yes.
Commissioner Goldsadovy?
Yes.
President Federlisa?
Yes. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
And the list of items that you listed there were so important to our success as far as clean energy is concerned. And I look forward to an exciting year. Mr. Hunter?
Yes, sir. Hello, Commissioners.
Item D, under clean energy?
I believe it's 8E.
I'm sorry, E. You're right.
This agenda item relates to a motion for reconsideration filed on December 1st, 2022, on behalf of several solar developers regarding the order dated November 9th, 2022, which denied the petitions of multiple entities seeking extensions of time for registrations within the Transition Incentive Program. The petitioners argued that the board order from November 9th denying extensions under the TI program contains two errors. First, the board misconstrued and misapplied the good cause standard as set forth in the board's rules of practice. Second, criteria set by the board under its order dated June 8, 2022, also known as the Gibbstown Order, should have been formally adopted pursuant to the public rulemaking process. Staff reviewed the petitioner's arguments, the TI program design, and requirements as established in the regulations, and the board's findings pursuant to the November 9th order, and notes the following. First, the good cause argument was made by some of the petitioners in their original petitions, and the board addressed it in the November 9th order. As the board stated there, Gibbstown was an adjudication upon the specific facts presented in that petition and applied only to the subset of projects that had similar facts, rather than applying to every TI project seeking an extension. Second, the Gibbstown criteria were not intended to and do not function as a standard for all other projects. As explained in the November 9th order, the Gibbstown order provides an opportunity for an extension when a project is in the same position as the project considered in that order. It does not set a standard that must be met by all other projects. In fact, several developers have pursued the Gibbstown waiver. The TI program was always intended as a temporary bridge between the legacy SRP, or SREC registration program, and the successor solar program, and all stakeholders knew or should have known this, as they knew or should have known that its one-year time frame would be challenging to meet. Based upon careful review of the petitioner's arguments and the November 9th order denying further extensions under the TI program, staff recommends the following two actions. First, that the board deny the joint motion, and second, continue to waive for any such petitioner's project the requirement in the New Jersey Administrative Code Title 14, Chapter 8, Subchapter 11.4b, that necessitates projects in the ADI program obtain a notice of conditional registration prior to beginning construction.
So moved.
Second?
Questions, comments for Scott? Roll call, please.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delue?
Yes.
Commissioner Goldsadovy?
Yes.
President Federlisa?
Yes. KDEF?
Yes, sir. This agenda item relates to a petition submitted by NJR Clean Energy Ventures for an extension of the expiration date for incentive eligibility of its Arrow Haven landfill project in the Transition Incentive Program. By order dated November 19th, 2018, the board provided subsection T conditional certification to the 3.38 megawatt DC Arrow Haven landfill project. The board directed the applicant to submit an initial SREC registration package within 14 days of the effective date of the order and to complete construction within 2 years in accordance with the SREC registration rules. Project acceptance letter issued by the SREC registration processing team on February 19, 2019 provided 2 years to complete construction and submit a final as-built package. The original project expiration date was February 19, 2021. In response to a petition from the original owner of the Airhaven project, in July of 2020, the board approved the transfer of the project from the Legacy SREC program to the TI program and granted an extension of time to complete commercial operations, or to achieve commercial operations, of October 18, 2021. Subsequent to that, the project benefited from the blanket 6-month extension granted on June 24th of 2021 and received a new expiration date of April 18, 2022. On April 29th, 2022, NJR filed a petition for a third extension in the TI program, seeking an extension until 3 months after all agency approvals had been received, but no later than November 30th, 2022. Petitioner asserted that the extension was warranted because construction of the project was substantially complete, but a limited portion was delayed pending receipt of governmental authorizations, which were necessitated by their project reconfiguration in response to supply chain disruptions. And on March 24th of 2023, the project received permission to operate at 2.77 megawatts. Upon careful review of the petitioner's arguments and the March 9th, August 17th, and November 9th, 2022 orders which denied petitions for extension in the TI program for projects with similar issues, staff recommends the following 3 actions. First, the board deny the petition. Second, encourage the petitioner to participate in the CSI program. And third, order that if the project is awarded a bid in the CSI program, that electricity generated since the date of permission to operate shall be eligible to create SREC 2s.
So moved.
Second?
Questions, comments for Scott? Roll call, Madam Secretary.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou?
Yes.
Commissioner Gosadovi?
Yes.
President Federico?
Yes. Scott, thank you. Rupa, I think you're up. 8G.
Good morning, Mr. President, Commissioners.
Good morning.
This matter is regarding the authorization of commercial and industrial incentives, energy efficiency incentives exceeding $500,000. Bristol Myers Squibb submitted an application under the Large Energy Users Program requesting board approval of a financial incentive of $807,690.86 for HVAC, airflow, and central plant upgrades at its Summit, Princeton, and New Brunswick facilities in New Jersey. This proposed project has a total cost of $10,731,970. If approved, this application would cover the replacement of existing laboratory fume hoods and airflow control system upgrades at the Summit facility, replacements of existing dedicated outdoor air system rooftop units, packaged air handling units, and outdoor air heat recovery units at the Princeton facility, and the retrofit of existing heating and ventilation units with new inverter duty motors, variable frequency drives and controls, the replacement of 4 existing exhaust fans, and the installation of a 500-ton plate and frame heat exchanger and associated controls at the New Brunswick facility. Annually, this project would conserve 1,811,767 kilowatt hours of electricity and 55,949 therms of natural gas. The proposed project has an estimated annual energy cost savings of $209,667. Staff recommends approval of the application for the total estimated incentive amount. Thank you.
So moved.
Second?
Questions, comments for Rupa? Roll call, Madam Secretary.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou?
Yes.
Commissioner Goldsadovy?
Yes.
President Fertiliso?
Yes. Thank you, Rupa. There are no items under miscellaneous to be considered at this point. Any of my colleagues have any closing comments they would like to make?
Just that I hope the Canadian wildfires are put out soon. The last time we had a meeting, I mentioned that there were 6 million acres. Now it's up to 21 million acres that have been burned. Half of those huge fires are out of control, so I think this gives us added incentive to really do what we're doing in clean energy. It's apparent all around us. So our best wishes with them and,
Yes.
to all of us with the air that we're breathing.
Yes, and it apparently had moved to the Midwest and is now coming back for the next couple of days here. So it really is a terrible thing. I mean, it's incomprehensible, 21 million acres. I don't even know what that looks like.
3 New Jerseys.
Yeah, 3 New Jerseys.
Yeah. Mind-boggling.
What do you want?
Yeah, well, while we're giving out accolades to different departments, it was only one item on the consent agenda, but I know there's a ton more coming. I want to thank Frank Gaffney and Joe Costa for their timely following up on some old violations in one call and really shaping that up. And this sort of underscores, even though it wasn't, we really didn't talk about it, underscores the importance of calling for markouts. Whether, it's a major excavation or you're planning a landscaping project at your home, it's really critical to make those calls, and they're free.
Sure is. Thank you for that. And that reminder always has to be there. Because people can die if they hit the wrong pipe. If there are no other comments, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you very much.